it is important that you have at least knowledge of all these applications. It's important that you know how to use them. Now, Premiere Pro can access them. But Premiere Pro can would support many of these files, even if the projects that you're working with, or even if the applications that you're working with are not Adobe related. If, for instance, you're working with a Clip Studio image, or you're working with a video that was actually edited in Filmora, so long as they are rendered in the right forms. If I do an image, for instance, in Canva, if I do a banner, for instance, in Canva, and I save it, so long as I render it and it's being saved in JPEG or PNG, Premiere Pro actually supports this format and work very well, very well. So long as they are being saved in the right format, they work very, very well. The only advantage with working with Adobe Adobe products in Premiere Pro is basically that the these applications are linked together. That's the advantage. The applications are linked together, and so it allows for the automatic updates. So if I'm working on images or videos in After Effects, and I want those videos, and I have those videos in my Premiere Pro and stuff, and I find out, okay, there's a need for me to make a change or something like that, I will easily just go to Photoshop, make those changes, and they automatically update themselves in Premiere Pro. And this also happens across to the other applications. So I could have an Premiere profile on After Effects, maybe find out that, okay, there's an error in this Premiere profile. I go to Premiere Pro, change the effect, and so automatically update itself in Premiere Pro. Hope we are getting it. Hope we are following, guys.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay, so now let's look at
Yeah.
some of the merits and demerits of Premiere Pro. Okay, an entry level. So the level version Adobe Premiere Pro Element is available for the consumer markets on Windows and Mac. That's cool. All right, it has multiple sequence supports. So I'm very sure some of you will be asking like what the question, what's sequence means. Um, how many of you have used Microsoft Word before? Uh, have you guys used Microsoft Word before?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. So if you've used Microsoft Word before, the points where you press Control N, what happens when you press Control N on the system?
Control what?
Control N.
N.
Yeah, Control N. What happens?
You get a new document to work on.
Yeah, you get a new window, a new window shows up to work on, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Now, so the same thing actually happens while that it's a new window on Microsoft Word. That's what it is. A sequence is basically like a new page, a new window to work with on Premiere Pro. So I have a sequence where I have all my footages, I have all my pictures, have them all joined, all edited, added my effects. I call that sequence one. I can press my Control N and create a new sequence and call that sequence two, where I create, maybe this time I just want the images or the videos of my child, my first child. And then I create a new sequence where I have just the videos and images of my second child. I create all these things in all different sequences. Maybe I have a third image, I have a third sequence where I create videos and images of just my wife. And then at the end of the day, I could create one master sequence by still pressing Ctrl N, where I add my sequence 1, sequence 2, sequence 3, and just put all of them in one sequence. So Premiere Pro has that advantage. I could create so many sequences, but all these sequence will be in one project. I hope you guys understand. All the sequences could just be in one project. So I don't have to like open a new file, a new project to start creating another video for my wife, for instance. I don't have to start create a new project for to create a video for to create another video for my first child. No, I could actually create all these multiple videos, create all these multiple product inside one project by creating multiple sequences. That's one of the advantages that we have in Premiere Pro there. That's one of the advantages I actually see there. So high bit depth rendering. So when talking about high bit or high bit rendering is that your videos would actually come in very high quality. Your videos would actually come in very, very high quality. Camera editing, yes. When we start working on the application, you would see that it has multiple camera editing. The time remapping. For your time remapping, this is when what we call to change the speed of your clip. I'm sure many of you use CapCut out there. CapCut is actually very, very important. I don't know, very, very used out there, and so like it's mobile, but I have seen some incredible things actually done with CapCut. Very, very serious, incredible things that are done with that application and stuff. But then again, you see when some videos slow down and when some of them speeding up. We actually have this in Premiere Pro, which is from the function time mapping. And the good thing about using this stuff in Premiere Pro is that it's actually more controllable. It's actually more controllable because in the time remap, you actually have a ramp, you have a speed ramp where you can actually control how you want it to go into slow motion. So it doesn't just go into slow motion. When we start working on the practical aspect of it, you find out that okay, you find out exactly what I'm saying. So it's just not what that I'm speaking and stuff. And another thing you need to know for those of you who are not using a system, right? For those of you who have mobile devices like a phone or maybe like a tablet, you can also use what's it called your Premiere Rush in place of Premiere Pro because both applications actually share similar features. So just in case you do not have a system to work with, you can install your Premiere Rush on your mobile devices, either your tablets or your phones, and they basically work on the same same features. So your time wrap, your color correction tools, your advanced audio mixer interface require more powerful computer to run properly. Okay, all right. This what's it called? Requires a more powerful computer to run on. That's actually on the it's actually on the demerit side. It's actually on the demerit side of things. Okay, because Premiere Pro does need a powerful system to work with. It does need a powerful system to work with because sometimes some of the footages that you are working with could be very, very high. You could have very, very large footages. Like I can have a one clip. I can have just one clip to be of 1 gig. And imagine if I'm working with like 10, 20 clips of each 1 gig and stuff. So it would not basically segregate. It won't tell you that okay, because this clip is too large, I cannot accept it or I cannot work with it. It won't do that. It will accept all those clips. But if your system is a low spec system, if your system is a low spec system, it may not allow that. It may not allow it. It will allow it, but your system will render quite slowly. The system will render quite slowly. So yes, it does requires a large, a good or a powerful system to work with. But this is quite different from this is quite different on the side of Premiere Rush, because I think when we use our mobile devices to do edits like this, is so that we can do quick edits, so we can do sharp edits, something that's not necessarily professional, but something that we could quickly do. For instance, I cannot edit a full length movie on my phone. It is not professional. It is possible, but it is not professional. And I don't think that the phone's RAM can actually handle that. So we can actually only do that, or should. It's advisable that we do that, run that on our laptops, on a very good, powerful laptops that actually allows all the functionalities of the application. So why Premiere Rush is good, why CapCut is also good, they are for medium-sized projects, not for really powerful projects. Adobe Premiere Pro is extremely expensive, while Movie Maker comes free. Yes, Adobe Premiere Pro, most all Adobe packages are actually pretty expensive and stuff. If you want to get the what's it called, the free the what's it called, the paid version and all of that, not the debuts, or the what's it called, the free trial version and all of that. So Adobe actually comes in expensive and all of that. So let's move on. So getting started. Pay attention to where you are saving your project when opening up a new project. Keep the general settings the same. Okay, this part is actually very, very necessary for all of us. It's very, very necessary because you do not want a situation where after you finish working on a project, after you finish working on a project, you close it up, shut down your system, go out, and by the time you come back, you start looking for that project that you've worked on. It's actually not it's not actually a very, very good site. Now, at the beginning of times, let me put it that way. At the beginning of times, you might actually find it unnecessary. Like I can just keep saving everything on desktop. I can just keep saving everything on desktop. Or I could just keep saving everything randomly wherever I want to and all of that. But on one particular day, karma is going to catch up with you. I pray it doesn't, anyways. But it's just best that we are careful with this particular factor and stuff. It's very, very careful that we are very, very particular with this particular factor, because sometimes also we could save one file, we could save multiple files with the same name, and that could actually cause a problem. So, what is actually advisable to do is, if I am working on a particular project, let's say for instance, I am working on um, a documentary about petroleum, it is best that I create a specific folder for documentary on petroleum, and everything that has to do with that documentary, all my clips, my audios, my images, my background music, everything that has to do with that particular project, it's very important that they are all saved on that one folder, including the Premiere Pro file, including the Premiere Pro file, that everything is being saved there. Because if one if one piece of that is missing, if something happens to one piece of it, it could actually mess up your work. You might actually go and start looking for it again, or downloading it from wherever it is that you get your resources from. Also, it is advisable that you keep your general settings same. It's advisable that you keep your general settings same. Now, your general settings, this is actually an advice if you are new on Premiere Pro. This is not to everybody, because before you start changing your settings, you need to understand what those settings actually represent.